Maggie Pesky is kissing her parents' butts so she can see an R-rated movie about a fly-eating cyborg frog called the Flyinator. Come on, guys. The exterminator was right there. She points out her older brother Aldrin gets to see all the movies he wants. Her parents say she's not old enough to see R-rated movies, which makes sense because houseflies only live for about 4 weeks. Her parents tell her she can watch violent movies when she's older. They tell her to go see the Prancing Princess movie instead, much to her dismay, because there's nothing more degrading than watching something made for kids that you're clearly too old to be concerned about. Maggie says screw that nonsense and decides to see a violent samurai movie instead. She claims she's not breaking her parents' rule as she's technically older than she was that morning. She drags her best friend Raina along to sneak into 3 hardcore movies in a row, which would be impressive if the movies were longer than 5 seconds. Surprise, surprise, the two get caught by Aldrin, who managed to sneak into the Flyinator. Aldrin claims Maggie is too scared to see the movie by herself, damaging her fragile ego. Maggie bribes a pair of cockroaches to pose as her parents so she can get into the movie. Maggie once again forces Raina to join her, despite her obvious trauma. Raina runs out of the theater and rushes to the comfort of the Prancing Princess, proving there's nothing wrong with watching a kids' movie in the theater by yourself. Unless it gives you a seizure. Unsurprisingly, it turns out Maggie's eyes are literally bigger than her stomach. She ends up getting scared by the Flyinator, which still looks better than the last 3 Terminator films. Maggie is barely holding it together as she returns home. It turns out Aldrin covered for her, so all she has to do is avoid spilling the beans. Unfortunately, Maggie can't go 30 seconds before tattling on herself and Aldrin. That's what you get for trusting your younger sibling to keep a secret. Her overly forgiving parents promise not to punish her, right before they scare the shit out of her. So remember, kids, if your parents tell you you're too young to see a movie, they're probably right. But if you watch it against their wishes, don't drag your best friend along because you might traumatize them for life. You shouldn't bribe strangers to pose as your parents, and don't watch a movie just because your older sibling dared you to. But if that same sibling covers for you, the last thing you want to do is sell them out to your parents. Also, don't question why bugs have their own version of Hollywood when it would make much more sense to just show human movies on a smaller screen. But most importantly, never deny the importance of animated media in a society that tells you it's only for kids. And even though Maggie Pesky is a literal bottom-feeding parasite, there's no point in getting upset, because at the end of the day, it's just a cartoon. Is there a cartoon you want me to talk about? Patrons who join my $10 tier can pick which shows I cover on It's Just a Cartoon. There's a limited number of slots available, so sign up now. Coming up next.